6 Minutes starts now.
So disgraceful. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President Trump calls the leak about the Russia probe he claims is a witch hunt. The special counsel reportedly has questions for him. The president tweets none of them on collusion, which he writes is a made-up phony crime, adding it would be very hard to obstruct justice for a crime that never happened. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Dave, the New York Times obtained a list of nearly 4 dozen questions special counsel Robert Mueller wants to ask President Trump. Among them, what did you think and what did you do in reaction to the news of the appointment of the special counsel? And how was this decision made to fire National Security Advisor Michael Flynn? Lawyers for President Trump and the special counsel's office have been negotiating a possible face-to-face interview with Mueller. Sources tell Fox News the president is skeptical but hasn't ruled it out. Dave.
Rachel, Israel's prime minister is again taking aim at Iran, telling Fox and Friends,
this tyrannical, anti-American regime should not have nuclear weapons.
Benjamin Netanyahu says he obtained thousands of documents Iran hid, showing it covered up a weapons program as it worked out a nuclear deal. He and President Trump both call terrible. The president may pull out of it later this month. Iran calls Netanyahu ridiculous and a liar and has warned the U.S. against withdrawing from the agreement. The father of one of the students murdered in the Florida high school shooting spree is going to court.
Andrew Pollock's 18-year-old daughter, Meadow, was a senior at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High. She was shot numerous times on Valentine's Day.
And Pollock's filed a wrongful death suit against the student gunman and a deputy.
Now resigns school resource officer Scott Peterson. The former deputy has been criticized for remaining outside the school building despite hearing gunshots. Pollock calls him a coward both in his lawsuit and on social media.
Fox's Evan Brown. 8 of the asylum seekers in the Central American caravan have been allowed into the country for processing. 140 others still waiting on the Mexican side of the border. 11 were arrested for entering the U.S. illegally. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
Your yard is not just a yard. It's a baseball diamond, a water park, a movie theater, and a grand banquet hall. Your yard is where memories are made, and you have the best seat in the house with the John Deere X350 Select Series tractor. Now equipped with the exclusive one-touch mulch control system, you can tell your clippings where to go, out the chute, or back into your lawn with just the push of a button. Nothing runs like family, and nothing runs like a Deere. Visit your local John Deere dealer to test drive one today.
Hi, I'm Darla from Cintas.
Oh, thank goodness you're here. We have so much to do. I need fire extinguishers, right?
We'll place them for you and be out for regular inspection.
Great. And what about my new hires?
We'll get them into uniforms and keep them looking sharp.
What about this first aid cabinet?
Fully stocked.
It wasn't this morning.
It is now. And so are the restrooms.
Wow, Cintas really seems to know what we need.
You said it.
Oh, I'm ready! Learn how Cintas can help you get ready for the workday. Visit Cintas.com.
When Governor Murphy announced an audit of New Jersey transit in January, he said he wanted the results within 3 months, give or take. 3 months and 8 days later, the contract has just finally been awarded to the chagrin of Assemblywoman Nancy Munoz, who attended Murphy's January event.
It's a little, not disturbing, is uncomfortable to know that the audit was just issued today. Obviously, it's 90 days has gone by, and we don't have any results from the audit.
The acting transportation commissioner says some preliminary results could be ready in about 3 months. Ocean City has joined a growing list of New Jersey schools eliminating class ranks. It's been a national trend. More than half of the nation's high schools focus more on a holistic approach to recognize not just academic achievements, but extracurricular activities. Mantua police officers get all kinds of calls. This one was just ducky. After a local resident saw a duck pacing nervously in front of a storm grate, he called police. Officers found several ducklings had been washed into the grate by a heavy rain. They removed them, and the mom and her ducklings waddled down the street safely. I'm Eric Scott. This is the Town Square News Network.
Mother's Day is next Sunday, and ProFlowers is offering an amazing special. 100 stunning blooms for mom, plus a free glass vase for $19.99, plus shipping and handling. Go to proflowers.com, click on the blue microphone, and enter the secret code 3232. With fresh flowers, guaranteed delivery, and unique vases and accessories that mom will love, ProFlowers has everything you need to get your Mother's Day shopping done for all the moms you know. Order now from ProFlowers to get huge savings. Just pick a delivery date and it's guaranteed or your money back. 100 colorful blooms sent fresh from the fields and guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least 7 days, starting at $19.99, and will include a free glass vase. Order now because Mother's Day is next Sunday, May 13th. The only way to get this amazing deal is to go to proflowers.com. Click on the blue microphone in the upper right corner and enter the secret code 3232. That's proflowers.com, secret code 3232.
Let the warm-up begin. A mostly sunny Tuesday. It'll be breezy and warm this afternoon with highs reaching for the mid to upper 70s away from the ocean and bays. A few clouds tonight. It'll be comfortable with lows in the 50s. Mostly sunny, breezy, and very warm tomorrow. Lower to mid-80s, mid to upper 80s on Thursday. Renting your first apartment is a big step. Feel secure, cover all your belongings, and live confident with Franklin Mutual Insurance. Find an agent near you at fmiweb.com. Franklin Mutual Insurance, for the way you live. I'm meteorologist Dan Zero.
From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame.
I want to congratulate my friend, Harry Hurley.
You're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on Wpgg Talk Radio 104.1.
Hey, thanks very much. This program presented by Chuck Malamut, the official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program. And this segment is presented by Chuck, a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. The information, views, and opinions are expressed on this broadcast are those of Chuck Malamut, do not necessarily reflect those of Morgan Stanley or its affiliates. They are current as of the date of this broadcast and are subject to change without notice. Neither the information provided nor any opinion expressed herein constitutes a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. This presentation is for informational purposes only. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, member SIPC. Chuck, good morning to you.
Good morning, Harry.
How's it going?
Everything is great. How are you today?
Outstanding, I might add. Market update, please.
So it seems as if we are in a rather wide trading range at this point in time, and as perverse as the market is at times, I think we're kind of in that mode now. Whatever is good is bad, and whatever is bad seems to be worse, if that makes any sense. We've had a fair amount of volatility continue throughout the week. Earnings, for the most part, and I'll get to in a little bit detail in a few minutes, but earnings continue to beat, and they beat rather significantly, not only on the top line, but also on the bottom line as well. But if you kind of put it in perspective, it's just simply amazing how a company can make a statement and how that one statement is, taken, as the word of the day or the phrase of the day, and the market just reacts or has a tendency to overreact and move accordingly. And if you take a look at, and I'm not going to, as you know, we're not going to sit here and pick on any particular company, but there were a slew of earnings last week, and the comments that were made from Caterpillar that were forecasting that first quarter would, quote, be the high water mark for the year, and that caused, once that was said, basically everyone ran to the doors. And when they ran to the door, what happened was, I believe that day that the Dow Jones was down about 400 points, if my memory serves me correctly. But all in all, the S&P for the week was flat. Other indexes were down slightly. The big story, and Kirk, you and Harry talked about it earlier today, was the 10-year Treasury, which is pierced through 3%, the first time in 4 years that has happened. And no sooner do we get through 3, everyone is forecasting, well, the end is near, inflation is back, et cetera, et cetera. And so now if you look at the 10-year, we're trading at about a 2.95. Now, and a person might look at that and say, well, what is the big difference between 2.95 on the 10-year or 3.05 on the 10-year? It's 10 basis points. But, the cost of doing business, it's a psychological number. I mean, you always talk about the psychological numbers as you hit, 26,000, 27,000, whatever it may be in the Dow. And the same thing happens here with the bond market. Now, we think that, we can talk about this in a minute, that, the Fed is on a trend line here to continue to increase rates. And as a result of that, the yield curve has become very, very flat. And investors are now on the short end of the curve finally being rewarded for having a money market fund, for having even a savings deposit account, and short-term borrowings as well. So there is some good that comes out of it, and the bottom line is, when you look at it, where are we with respect to growth here in our country and global growth as well?
Now, we saw some revisions downward in terms of GDP, didn't we? They weren't. I don't think they were extraordinary or anything, but they did get downgraded slightly, right?
There was. I mean, there was a fair amount of euphoria, believe it or not, at the end of the week. And first quarter economic growth was soft. We do expect a rebound as we get into the year. Real GDP rose a modest 2.3% during the first quarter and was up 2.9% year over year. Remember, that threshold that everyone was looking for was to be able to get to 3% plus. And when you look at it, a couple areas that were weak, and we always talk about that three-legged stool, was consumer spending and housing. They were relatively weak. Capital expenditure levels, from the corporate level, look pretty solid. And think about that: tax cuts, more money to spend in these businesses, and as a result, instead of just using it for stock buybacks, what a lot of companies are starting to do now is invest in plant and equipment.
That's excellent.
Technology and of the like. So having said all that, we think we should rebound to about 3% for the year and expect inflation. And you guys talked about it last hour. We think inflation is going to be around 2% as we get into the latter part of 2018.
So none of this should surprise the Fed, and their charted course seems on pace.
No, the Fed is. I mean, the Fed is on pace. I mean, the big gorilla in the room seems to be how many rate increases are we going to have this year? Are they going to have that extra one and go from 3 to 4? And 25 basis points doesn't seem like it's a lot. I think when you add it all up, the cost of borrowing now is significantly more expensive than it was, say, 2 years ago.
And my philosophy, because I'm in a different lane than you are, is that if they need another rate increase to help the midterm election turn out the way they want, then they always have one in them.
So I guess
been chronicling that.
I guess
for a
if the
long
Hurley
time.
mantra happens, then we're going to have a rate increase.
The trouble is when you look at something for more than 2.5 decades and it always happens in a predictable way, it almost becomes a math
equation. So what is
equation
the movie Groundhog Day?
Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's Groundhog Day was always the same. This is intermittently the same.
Okay. Well, it's
a little different than Groundhog
I kind
Day.
of view it as all, all right, we'll roll through that point, okay? But I think
you know
that
what I'm saying, and our listeners know what I'm saying. I'm respecting Chuck's program by being a gentleman, but I always think they've got one more in them if it helps the team.
Well, I want to say that maybe we look at things a little bit differently and seem to think that it's all driven by economic data.
Sure it is.
But, you and your listeners oftentimes seem to think differently and maybe think out of the box, I guess is the best way to put it. But I think all the messages we've been communicated with and have been for a lifetime is the Fed is not political, has never been political, and has no intention of being political. You, in the meantime, think otherwise and state otherwise, and I know you're here. I wish your listeners could watch you banging
Good thing
your
I'm
hand,
standing because I'd fall to the ground.
banging your hand on the table, holding your eyes, laughing and crying at the same time.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Did a pretty good job describing the way you react to that.
You're impressive. I really.
I don't know about that, Harry,
yes,
but we try.
You are. For all of your financial planning needs, turn to the official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program, Chuck Malamut, the Malamut Group at Morgan Stanley's Northfield, New Jersey office, 609-383-2010 for all of your financial planning needs. One sit down and you will see, and you will be able to process and understand Chuck's longtime perfected concept of total asset management, coupled with the all-important asset allocation. Now, in your market update, you talked about first quarter growth. You talked about earnings continue to impress.
Well,
so,
let's focus a little more on earnings here before the break, if we could. So far, we've seen about half of the S&P companies reported, actually 53%. They are right now on track for an increase, a growth, 23% year over year. 80% of the companies that have reported their earnings per share expectations have beat the average by roughly 9%. And that's the best that we've seen in literally 8 years. And 74% of what we've seen so far, revenue expectations have been an average of about 2%. So, again, that's the strongest results that we've seen, again, since 2008. So think about it. We're measuring back, 10 years, 8 years. And what is happening right now, as you know, there's two sides of the boat. And the one side of the boat, which everyone seems to be leaning to right now, is the fact that what we have seen and seeing in the first quarter is the best we're going to see in 2018. So, having said all that, what we have seen, the way stocks have traded of late, prior to the opening, or either right after the close, a company will report. They'll beat revenue. They'll beat top line. They'll beat bottom line. They'll beat bottom line. Stock moves up either in after hours trading, or stock moves up right at the open. And then during the day, for the most part, what we've seen is those gains are erased, and then we start trading flat to somewhat negative. And I think that's sort of been more the rule of late, and we were so excited waiting for earnings, and obviously now I think a lot of us are really disappointed with the way the market is reacting, because our chief strategist has made the statement on multiple occasions that the S&P will be at 3,000 by midsummer, which is a really big move from here, but he thinks we'll settle back to about 2,750 before we get to year end. So we still think there's a long way to go. There still is a fair amount of headwinds that we have to overcome. But all in all, right now that market is in that sort of that funk where we have a wide trading range, and we can't pierce through either on the top line of the trading range, or the bottom line of that trading range. And as a result, you just have this intraday volatility, which takes a lot of individual investors, and they go to the sideline saying, I have to wait, I can't deal with this at this point in time.
Brief time out. We're going to be back in 3 minutes. Chuck Malamut continues all about your financial matters. For all of your financial planning needs, turn to Chuck Malamut, Managing Director, the leader of the Malamut Group at Morgan Stanley's Northfield, New Jersey office. For all of your financial planning needs, that's everything from retirement planning, college building, any type of vacation building that you'd like to do to just put money aside for tomorrow and for retirement. Turn to Chuck, 609-383-2010, 609-383-2010.
The Auto Plaza at English Creek. Roll with Mr. Tire.
This is Harry Hurley, and I'm with the Mayor, Charles Kane, owner and operator of the Auto Plaza, Egg Harbor Township. Mayor, tell your listeners who are looking for a car, why should they choose the Auto Plaza?
Harry, it's our full-service department, selection, and hassle-free financing alternatives that have set us apart for over 17 years. Over the years, we've been the recipient of many sales and service awards, as well as receiving an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. It's been a real honor for us. We are now serving a second generation of sales and service customers. Stop in today. You're going to love our staff and experience what makes us different.
For all of your automobile service, parts, and sales needs, call the Auto Plaza at 609-646-2447. That's 609-646-2447. And visit us on the World Wide Web at myautoplaza.com.
The Auto Plaza at English Creek. Roll with Mr. Tire.
Save more with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Hey, Todd, Liberty Mutual just saved me $782.
Liberty did what?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Maybe I should switch to Liberty Mutual.
Visit us online to... Hey, stop echoing.
Sorry.
Visit us online to get a quote, and you could save $782. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Based on a recent countrywide new customer survey, coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, Equal Housing Insurer.
It's not easy being a mom.
but my Chrysler Pacifica makes soccer practice a little more fun. I can binge all my shows with the available Uconnect Theater, open the Stow and Go seating to grab my hidden romance novel, or just jam out to the radio.
Hey, Mom, what was that song?
Huh? What song? I didn't hear a song.
Chrysler Pacifica. It's loaded with attitude. Chrysler is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's good news. Due to the financial hardship many are facing in today's economy, the IRS has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Qualifying for this program will resolve your tax problem, end all collections, and possibly reduce your back taxes by up to 90%. If you are facing wage garnishments, liens, bank levies, audits, or payroll taxes, it's not too late. Your circumstances may qualify you for this special program, protecting your savings and your assets. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's no need to worry anymore. Call the hotline at Victory Tax Solutions to see if you qualify and potentially save thousands. For this free information, call 800-780-3232. 800-780-3232. That's 800-780-3232.
Hey, wake up with Harry Hurley and drive home with me, Sean Hannity, 3 to 6. It's all happening here on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
Hey, thanks very much. We're back, and right after Chuck Malamut, we may have enough time, I'm hoping, to do a mini Dateline Atlantic City update, a breaking news story. We got out the hashtag Ready, Set, Steal because the local media went crazy stealing a story that we broke yesterday. Even for them, it was unusual, its intensity. But coming up after that, we have a wonderful program in the 9 o'clock hour this morning. And I haven't said yet, but I'm going to say for the first time right now, we're going to welcome Brookdale Cape May. I mentioned that we had a very special 9 o'clock hour coming up after Chuck, but this is history in the making. Brookdale Cape May Senior Living Solutions with Yvonne, Stacy, and Lauren in studio. We've never had a senior living solution organization on our program in our 27 years on air. History is going to be made this morning as we welcome Brookdale Cape May Senior Living Solutions to the Hurley in the Morning program. We're with Chuck Malamut, our official financial advisor. Chuck, I hate to word it this way, but it's going to happen someday. When will the next – I want you to have a Pocket Kreskin moment. When will we have the next recession?
Well, it seems as if, Harry, right now, the risks for a recession are very low. Through 2018, actually probably through 2019 as well. So
are we 10 years without a recession?
At that point in time, yeah, we will have been. Now, the expectation is we think 2020, 2021 is probably when we're going to get to the next recession. You have tremendous momentum with respect to growth. The fiscal stimuluses that we've had in the past, the tax reform that is just been initiated, and everyone is seeing higher take home pay. That should be keep the economy in check for the next 18 months or so. But as the Fed continues to calibrate what is happening with respect to rates on the short end of the curve, and the market, conversely, on the flip side, makes changes on the intermediate and long-term side of the interest rates, we think that we're going to probably sort of hit that crossroads in about 18 months or so. And we've talked about trade. It seems as every day the rules are changing somewhat with respect to the tariffs and to what extent. But if we have that protectionism out there, that also adds to the possible risks of a potential recession. But the good news is that you think about 18 months is a long time from now, and your listeners and investors have an opportunity and have the time to make changes. if they so think it is the right time to make changes. Now, the one thing that we're going to talk about in a minute is and I think that Harry, you and Kirk kind of talked about it last hour, is the cost of the pump and the cost of oil, if I remember. Did you chat about that for a few minutes? But
yeah, because I actually absolutely felt like I can't even explain it. Like, I guess because I usually fill up when I'm still half full. I don't want to call it half empty. This was the first time that I experienced. It was $60.72 to fill my car, and I had almost a quarter of a tank in the car. I just found that to be something that, if that continues, that affects our economy because that hurts people. I mean, you know how fast you can burn a tank of gas. If you do one long-distance trip or just, you're putting that kind of money out on a regular basis. And what's the Malamut Doctrine? Every penny added to the price of 1 gallon of gas is $1.3 billion or thereabouts, $1.5 billion taken out of spending. That's a problem.
It is a problem, and as we chatted about just a few minutes ago, that with respect to GDP, it's the consumer is a little weak at this point in time, and are we operating, quote unquote, are we operating on fumes? If I kind of get that, slide that
Rip
in.
Shot.
Good. I don't. Certainly not
You're
Hurley.
Funnier than the Canadian at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That was good.
I will. I was listening. Again, I spend a lot of time listening to you guys in the morning. I should be really paying attention to what I do all day, but I think I can carve an hour out.
It's very helpful.
I get a lot of information. Yes. But I will tell you, I watched a total of 90 seconds. And I said, that's it. I turned it off.
Yeah.
I said, I am not going to dedicate any more time in this.
I watched none, but then I did watch the entire 18-19-minute performance, just so that I would be able to talk about it. And it was something we won't talk about on your show.
But let me kind of shift gears, because we were talking about gasoline, and I think you asked it either last week or the week before. Well, you're not seeing that same percentage increase. How West Texas has increased in price versus the price of the pump,
right.
But
meaning it could even be worse.
But right now we're at about $2.80 as of last Friday, nationally speaking, and that's up about 30 cents year to date. So it's roughly a 10% move, and we're quickly approaching $3, and the last time that we saw $3 gallon gas nationally speaking was 2014 October. So it's been 3.5 plus years.
And of course, if you use super, or some places call it premium, you're already paying like $3.35.
You are, but I think the point I was trying to make is that, again, this is going to cut a little bit into the consumer. While we did get the tax cuts, now all of a sudden more of your resources are being allocated, for fuel.
This is why the New Jersey sales tax increase was something I was so just ardently opposed to, because it was done when gas prices were very low, but as we said at the time, they're going to go up again at some point. We just don't know the exact date, and now that's in there too.
Yeah, and speaking of New Jersey, I was very disappointed to hear that we went from potentially, if these tax increases go in, from 49 to 50. I guess we can't go to. I guess 50 is the limit. There's not. Is there 52 states here?
Well, we could start talking territories.
That's right.
We could start bringing the territories in. Look, when the promise, Chuck, is that we're raising taxes $1.6 billion because, quote unquote, it's the right thing to do, then Katie, bar the door. It's getting crazy.
Bottom line, who do you blame for this? We, the citizens of the state of New Jersey,
we get the government we deserve.
Made a decision and elected our current governor.
Yeah.
So
we get the government we deserve.
Exactly. We could sit here for the next 30 minutes and chat about what has gone right, what has gone wrong. But the bottom line, you can't run the country, you can't run the state of New Jersey with this continual negative flow of funds. You can't continue to have a deficit because, at the end of the road, it's not a happy ending. And, Harry, you've been doing your show for 27 years.
Correct.
The bottom line, you hear a lot of rhetoric, and the room gets filled with all this noise as these people speak. But the bottom line, what do they in fact produce? What sort of savings have they incurred for you, the taxpayer? And I'm not going to get on my soapbox and talk about whether it's at the federal level or the state level or the county level or the municipal level. God bless you. But what I think what we have recognized, it's all the same at the end of the day. Everybody makes these false, empty promises, and no one is able to deliver.
Before the halftime break, because then we want to come back to your actual agenda, this is also a wild card question. How onerous do you think the tax changes will be when people file their taxes for 2018?
In the state of New Jersey?
Yes.
I think, we've talked about this previously. I think most of your listeners and most people really have not recognized what's going to happen with SALT. And the fact that, everybody's so giddy and happy. They got through April 15th, filed the returns, 17 is done, it's in the books.
Right. A year ago.
You move on and you kind of forget it. You do your day-to-day activities and planning or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden, you are 9 months from now, 10 months from now, and you're staring at a potentially higher tax bill. And I think it's going to take a lot of people off guard. If you really should go back and pull out your 17 return and just sort of highlight, that Schedule A. And I don't profess to be an accountant by any way, shape, or form, but you really need to talk to your tax professional, and they should be able to determine what the potential changes will be. Now, granted, yes, the standard deduction has increased to $24,000, but you have a $10,000, cap on property taxes, state income taxes, and just look. I was looking at another website, nameless, faceless, but they happened to start with the letters NJ, and they had a and they had an article and it ranked within every county the highest. Within every county it listed the highest city as far as taxes are concerned. And I just kind of scrolled through it, and what I found very interesting is that Cumberland County, Atlantic County, it's they're obviously the poorest counties in the state, but the tax rates on average $7,500, $8,000. So it doesn't take much to push through to that $10,000 limit, and then you add on top of that your state income tax that you're paying. I think don't be at all surprised if your taxes go up 3%, 4%, 5% next year.
Back with Chuck Malamut. We're going to be right back. That's something to just keep in the back of your mind, because I know from a past life, I sent letters out a year in advance. Nobody was impressed. Nobody cared. The moment the negative change went into effect, that's when people process it for the first time. That's the way this is going to be, Chuck. You're going to be like, whoa, I didn't know this was going to happen. So it's great news until you get to the finish line.
Exactly.
All right, we'll be right back. 33 minutes past the hour, one more power segment with the official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program, Chuck Malamut. Brookdale, Cape May, they're making their way right now to our palatial studio. So Yvonne, Stacy, Lauren, I've got your back. You're coming up in the next hour.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons at 3.
This is only the beginning of the exposure of these deep state actors. They thought they knew better, and they did everything in their power to ensure that somebody that should have been indicted got to continue in the race and aid and abet and assist that individual in helping her to win.
Sean Hannity, weekdays 3 to 6 on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
At Ocean First Bank, our first thought is you. We put you first in all we do. Community banking for a century. We treat you like your family. Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
When your dream is building a new home, we offer mortgage options designed with your convenience in mind, like combining your construction and permanent loan into just one closing, saving you time for the really fun stuff, like planning that housewarming party.
Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Business owners and managers, if you have employee benefits, then you should be contacting Hub International. With healthcare premiums approaching $13,000 per employee, businesses and employees cannot continue to absorb rate increases. Hub, the 7th largest broker in the world, has over 400 offices nationwide. They make the resources of an international powerhouse available locally to even the smallest employers. Hub's local VP is Vaughn Reel, who's been consulting clients for over 30 years. Vaughn is certified by the Wharton School of Business as an employee benefits expert. In addition to getting you the lowest rates possible, Vaughn's team makes available a full suite of administrative, employee communications, member advocacy, and wellness services, as well as advanced claims analytics and cutting-edge benefit cost control strategies. Contact Vaughn Reel, 609-432-7929, or by email, vaughn.reel@hubinternational.com. That's 609-432-7929, Hub International Employee Benefits.
Save more with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Hey, Todd, Liberty Mutual just saved me $782.
Liberty did what?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Maybe I should switch to Liberty Mutual.
Visit us online to... Hey, stop echoing.
Sorry.
Visit us online to get a quote, and you could save $782. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Based on a recent countrywide new customer survey, coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, Equal Housing Insurer.
It's not easy being a mom, but my Chrysler Pacifica makes soccer practice a little more fun. I can binge all my shows of the available Uconnect Theater, open the Stow and Go seating to grab my hidden romance novel, or just jam out to the radio.
Hey, Mom, what was that song?
Huh? What song? I didn't hear a song.
Chrysler Pacifica. It's loaded with attitude. Chrysler is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
At Dell, we know running a small business takes hard work. As a thank you, for all of Small Business Month, we're offering up to 40% off select PCs with 8th Gen Intel Core processors and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-BY-DELL to speak with a small business technology advisor today. That's 877-BY-DELL. Special financing available to qualified business customers when using Dell Business Credit. Go to Dell.com/DBC promos for details.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade. Join me next at 10, then Sean Hannity at 3. Now back to Harry Hurley on WPG Talk Radio, 104.1, South Jersey's talk station.
Chuck and I are regaling with Kirk, who has just left the building, over the lighted pens. You have to. I know you're always willing to give credit where credit's due. The Shore Agency ink bling is very upscale, Chuck, with the lighted pens.
I am very impressed. As Kirk was leaving, I said, "This is, I have my go-tos, and this is definitely going to be my when I'm working at home at night. It's going to be my go-to because this way, when I get tired, I just click it the second time, and the light pops up, so I can keep me awake.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Noah Hurley Baker is going to have this pen when I next see him, and I know he's going to love it. It's very clever.
I don't know if I'd be so quick in giving it away, Harry.
I have to. It's my nature.
He is your grandson,
yes.
So he will definitely love that.
Oh,
pen.
God, when he sees it lights up, I'm going to tell him to click it. And then I'm hoping that it's not the one where they'll say, click it again. Oh, he will love it.
I'm just hoping that no one else in my household makes a decision. They want to acquire that pen by default. So
I make a prediction because you definitely have there are a lot of hands in the Malamut compound. I'm going to say that pen is going to disappear quick.
I'm going to have to put a tracker on it.
You put one of those like
bank squares on it, right? Where you know exactly where. Yes. Like find your phone, find your pen.
Exactly. Here's a positive item on the Malamut agenda, and it's actually, I think it's extraordinary. Decades, 70 years in the making, what seems to be a true easing of tensions, not just in Korea, South Korea, or North Korea, but the fact that they're basically, literally hugging each other, having a meeting coming up with the president. Peace appears to, I don't want to go too far because we've obviously been snookered in past administrations, but there's a lot to be optimistic about.
You know, what I find remarkable, Harry, is the fact that, and again, it's not the time to talk about the news or fake news or what happened at the correspondents' dinner, but I mean, the bottom line is the fact this is the first time. Think about it. You know, the deal that's been announced between North and South Korea, you know, could officially end a war that has lasted 70 years.
Yes, 1953.
And you know, and maybe the nukes, you know, that are out there will be disarmed at some point in time. So,
he says,
you know,
he says they will, and the world is so attuned to what's going on right now. I think that Kim Jong-un, if he doesn't follow through, North Korea would be completely shunned by the world.
Well, I think, Harry, what you just said just a few seconds ago is the fact that we've been snookered, you know, multiple times, and you know, with the upcoming summit, you know, with President Trump, you know, can he in fact, you know, sort of continue to, you know, move the ball forward, or you know, are we going to, you know, are we going to get tricked again?
Would this be the kind of geopolitical achievement that actually would move markets?
I think it would, Harry.
I do too.
I think, you know,
I do too.
You know, oftentimes, you know, geopolitical risks are, you know, are specific to a country per se, but this is a move that if it happens, it affects the whole world. And I guess being, you know, cautiously optimistic, I think there is a possibility that the markets could move in the right direction.
Chuck, what are your thoughts on equities?
So, Harry, when you take a look at what has happened here, we've talked a little bit about earnings. You know, they've been impressive, but markets really have struggled to gain some traction here. You know, we think that even though confidence levels are somewhat shaken with respect to investors, we think stocks will continue to trade in that wide trading range for the next several months, along with a fair amount of volatility. So I think what your listeners need to you know, be aware of is, you know, I mean, don't be surprised if the market, you know, moves by, you know, 1%, you know, in a day. We've had, you know, a lot of days in 22 or 24, Harry, I think in the first quarter. And, you know, just because you flipped a page and you're now in April, soon to be May. And, you know, take a look at yesterday in particular.
Today,
I mean, yesterday,
today is May. It's May 1st.
I mean, yesterday, you know, the market was up. And at the end of the day, you know, the market flipped and turned, and it was in fact down. So, you know, I think, you know, you need. We're cautiously optimistic. I mean, as a result of that, you know, we're not sure if we're going to push through the S&P at 2875. That was the, you know, sort of that high that was made. But like I said, our strategist is very, very confident and comfortable with where we are with the economy and the stock market at this point in time.
It's good to hear, Chuck. It's really, really good analysis, good stuff. Now, 2-minute drill or so left in your program, and I know you talked about the price at the pump, and it's about 50 cents higher a gallon than it was this time last year. Talk about crude production, and because I'm of the belief that in the past year we're producing more here than we have in the longest time, maybe more than ever before, but certainly more than in the longest time. And is this a surprise, or is this a typical summer type situation?
No, I think Harry, we are looking at you know, something is pretty remarkable with respect to what's happened to what the production levels that we produce here in the country. So if you look at crude oil, middle of April, we were producing 10.54 million barrels a day. So 10 million barrels a day of oil, crude. And that was the 8th consecutive week that we've increased production and more than double the 5 million barrels a day that were produced back in 2008. So 10 years, Harry, it's taken us to double the production. Now, a lot of that, I think, is due to technology, but as you have said on multiple occasions, wouldn't it be nice if we can become energy independent and produce everything here within the country and not be dependent on outside forces, to import oil. So I think we're heading certainly in the right direction at this point in time.
Chuck, I thank you. Really action-packed and very informative Malamut program for today. I look forward to next time.
Harry, thanks for having me. We'll see you next week.
My man, you may run into my beautiful daughter.
There you go.
If you're here for a few more minutes.
Definitely takes after Margie.
I know. I agree. I married well. So did you.
I did. Thank you, Harry.
And I consider myself sort of the Cupid of your marriage.
We're not going to go there right now, but thank you.
I do.
I
went there.
You were, yes.
I went there.
You played an active role in helping develop the relationship.
Thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement. It felt good. Chuck Malamut, for all of your financial planning needs, 609-383-2010. 609-383-2010. If you've chosen Chuck Malamut, you have chosen well. We'll be back. Dateline Atlantic City Councilman at Large George Tibbett will join us next.
Health Update brought to you by the law offices of Richard A. Stoloff, New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
As our young athletes continue to play their spring sports, many will suffer from overuse injuries. How can we help? Here to tell us is Ryan Bucafferni, Rehab Director of Integrity Physical Therapy and Wellness in Northfield.
Most important is proper rest, sleep, nutrition, and an exercise program consisting of stretching and strengthening exercises that work on adaptations that occur during a long season. Remember to tell your kids to let you know if they feel pain, because that's not normal. They should be checked by an appropriate healthcare practitioner.
And physical therapy can help?
Absolutely. Physical therapy can help decrease pain and inflammation and get an athlete back on the field much quicker.
You also have something called prehab.
Sure, prehab's something we do in the off season to get an athlete ready for the season by stretching and strengthening based on their specific goals.
So they can prevent these injuries. Thanks so much, Ryan Bucafferni of Integrity Physical Therapy. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Brought to you by the law offices of Richard A. Stoloff, StoloffInjuryLaw.com. Attention you expect, results you deserve.
Come celebrate the 15th anniversary of the South Jersey Field of Dreams on Sunday, May 20th in Absecon. Since 2003, the South Jersey Field of Dreams has been providing a place for special athletes to play baseball. Today, 300 athletes from around South Jersey participate in a baseball league that is all-inclusive and free to everyone. The complex includes a picnic area, a playground, a miniature golf course, and a bike and walking path with 8 fitness stations. On Sunday, May 20th, the South Jersey Field of Dreams invites everyone to sign up for one of the 15th anniversary events. Fun for the whole family, including a 1.5-mile fun run and walk, a home run derby, and a 9-hole miniature golf tournament. Register today at sjfieldofdreams.com. Come out for the carnival games, a car show, drones, airplanes, and food vendors. Even watch your favorite mascots play baseball. The fun starts at 9. To register for the fun run, home run derby, or mini golf tournament, go to sjfieldofdreams.com. Made possible by Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa, an MGM luxury destination.
Okay, everyone, Mother's Day is next Sunday. Do you know what you're getting for your mom? If you're looking for the mother of all gifts, Mom will love an unforgettable gift from Sherry's Berries. Right now, you can get their freshly dipped gourmet berries starting at $19.99 plus shipping. Just go to berries.com, click the microphone in the upper right corner, and enter special code 4848. That's berries.com, special code 4848. You have never seen dipped berries like these. They're huge, sweet, juicy, and covered in decadent toppings like chocolate chips and chopped nuts. And right now, they're starting at $19.99. That's amazing. Plus, you can pick your delivery date, and the berries are guaranteed to arrive fresh, delicious, and beautifully packaged, or your money back. Order today and you can get double the berries for just $10 more. Order now because Mother's Day is next Sunday, May 13th. The only way to get this amazing offer is to go to berries.com, click the microphone in the upper right corner, and enter special code 4848. That's berries.com, special code 4848.
When you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions based on your job requirements. Then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed.
Hi, remember this is Tony Lando with Hurley in the morning. Keep listening.
What tie a yellow ribbon around the oak tree?
Hurley in the morning.
And it is Dateline Atlantic City, Hurley in the morning. The most relevant two-way talk radio broadcast in New Jersey history presents Atlantic City Councilman at Large George Tibbett. We're not going to be talking about the news that I broke yesterday with Councilman Tibbett. That's not his place to, for me to put him in the meat grinder to comment about a fellow colleague or anything about that. So if anybody's thinking that I'm intentionally not talking about that, I broke the story. I've mentioned it at least twice or three times on the program today, and I might mention it in the final minute after we finish the interview with Councilman Tibbett. What I do want to do is get the latest involving city issues, financial issues. Obviously, the pilot settlement is about ready to be inked. I'm going to have a breaking report on that nobody else knows. I don't even think City Council knows it, that I'm going to be breaking later this week. Stand by. I'm that confident nobody has it that I'm sitting on it for about another day, maybe even two. But definitely this week, I'm going to break a blockbuster about this whole pilot situation. I want to get George's take on that and also talk about the state not approving the applying for the Safer Fire grant. And I have to say, I had a completely different opinion prior to the state of New Jersey reaching out to me and giving me a very detailed response. They really did at least make it a discussion that you have to have. Before I thought this is just madness. Who could turn this down? But there's only a certain percentage of it that's paid. And they really made – George, I thought that I don't know. Did you read the statement? See it, Chuck. Did you read the statement from the state of New Jersey sent to me yesterday? Did you see that?
Yes, I did, Harry. And they made a good argument, but let's not forget when the judge ruled that we can't go under 180 men.
Yeah, nobody said that's like the perfect number to keep Atlantic City safe. And I will say, George, where I think, and you were probably just going to go here, but let me just play with you on it because I'm very persuadable that with two new casinos coming on board, Stockton, Atlantic City, South Jersey Gas, I mean, you have a number of very big facilities that are opening up.
Yeah, Harry, that's exactly correct. Just because you can't go under 180, and who made Judge Menendez an expert? His experts in law, not on fighting fires. And I don't believe that number of 180 is a correct number. I think there should be more men. Like you said, you got the Hard Rock opening, you have Ocean opening, you have the college coming to town. And people just think they fight fires. It's not just fires. It's the medical calls that these guys go on. And I'm not sure that number is the perfect number. As far as quality of life issues, Harry, these guys not being with the schedule that's been put on them takes them away from their family, takes them away from their children's sporting events and things like that because of the nonstop rotating schedule and things of that nature. And look at the pay. The pay is awful. You got to be nuts to be an Atlantic City firefighter starting out at $46,000 a year. You have to take about $8,000 right off the bat, comes out of your check for your health benefits, which people never take that into consideration. Then you take 10% of that money also for their pension contribution. So what's a fireman start at before federal, Social Security, state taxes? They're at about $36,000.
Yeah, I thought the PBA, the Atlantic City Professional Firefighters Union President, Local Number 198, John Varallo, I thought he made a very, very good point when he said they've taken a 30% cut in compensation and have a 30% increase in actually their work schedule. That's pretty unprecedented, I think.
Well, if you're going to get the hours, you got to leave the pay alone. And we are getting the hours. And for people to say, "Oh, all they do is sleep and this and that," that's the furthest thing from the truth. If you look at the amount of calls that we take, just look at the Narcon calls that we get stuck doing, because everybody throughout this county, every municipality throughout this county, Ocean County, Cape May County, and now Camden and Cumberland County are sending their problem people here for us to take care of. And if you could see how many Narcon calls that our firemen go on. Now, if they were like some other towns that don't have all these other medical calls that they go on, and they could actually sleep in the firehouse, maybe a 24-hour shift, it would work. But that's not the case in Atlantic City. They don't get to sleep at all, the amount of medical calls that they have to go on. And don't forget, just because it's not your firehouse that's going to that call, it still goes over the loudspeaker, and everybody gets woken up. Could you work? How efficient would you be, or I would be, Harry, working a 24-hour shift? At some point, Harry, it gets dangerous. Atlantic City is not a 24-hour place to do a shift.
I would totally agree. It's too stressful, and really, there's going to be a price to pay for this, especially over a period of time. Let's face it, you really do want to create an environment where the human resource is appreciated. This is bad for families. This separates husbands from their wives, from their children. I don't think it's a healthy situation at all. And their split-second coordination is so important in their job. So if they're sleep deprived, it's a terrible situation.
And Harry, and they're responsible. God forbid they make a mistake because they're overworked, because they don't have enough sleep or something. They can have trouble for it, suspensions, fired. The same thing, with your cops. You don't want your cops working too many shifts because, too many long shifts because, they have to make quick decisions on a second's notice. And, you want your guys to be well rested, and when it comes time to make those quick decisions, that they're properly, they're able to make those decisions. Now, you look at studies out there, Harry, and you got to look these studies up, people that are listening right now. And if you look at the amount of mistakes are made with the larger amount of hours worked, it's incredible the amount of mistakes that are made with the longer the shifts are.
Without a doubt, it not only sounds like it makes sense. It's documented. It makes perfect sense. In the final little over a minute and a half that we have in the hour, Councilman Tibbet, and if you're just joining us, Atlantic City Councilman at Large George Tibbet, give me your take on the settlement involving the pilot payment in lieu of taxes that appears that it is ready to be approved. Certain mayors are still, and their governing bodies have to vote on it, but it looks like it's going to get approved. And we're going to have a blockbuster later this week about it that for some reason we've been given an exclusive on it. And I think people are going to be amazed when they hear it. But what are your thoughts on the 10.95, the settlement as it seems that it's been rendered, the compromise? What's your take?
Harry, it's pure greed on behalf of the county and the mayors of this county. You look at the supermajority of the employees from our schools, our police, our fire, the casinos, everything. Everybody's making a living in Atlantic City and taking their money and going over the bridges. The fact that they, if you remember before Senator Whalen died, he had pushed the issue that they had made more the year before off of the 10.5% than they did the same year. And to want more.
Well, also too, you have January, February, and March and April already gone. So you have to factor in that 4 months out of 12 are already over.
Hey, did your taxes at your county bill go through the roof? What they go up $10, $20, Harry, for the year? Now, if everybody in the county contributed to Atlantic City and the problems that we take care of for the rest of this county, you look at how much money is taken out of this city to take care of the county. You look at the open space tax, all the money in the surrounding communities that have taken from Atlantic City. You look at what we put in and what we got back, it's not even close to proportional on what we put in.
We're at the finish line. Thank you. Brookdale, Cape May in the house next.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ 97.3 HD3 Millville. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now.
The special counsel has questions. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. About 4 dozen of them that Robert Mueller wants to ask President Trump. The New York Times reports some probe FBI Director James Comey's firing. Others want to know about ties to Russia, and many delve into possible obstruction of justice. President Trump reacted on Twitter. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, President Trump called the Times story a disgraceful leak, as he again referred to the Russia probe as a witch hunt. He said collusion is a phony